Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app, O'Connor and Company.
It is 5:07 on this Friday morning, the 10th day of October. That's right, it's 10-10 day. 10-10 on your calendar. Thanks for tuning in here and wrapping up your week with us. We've got a lot to discuss from last night's one and only debate in the Virginia governor's race. Winsome Earle-Sears, I think, got the night that she wanted. Everyone's talking about, well, how bad Abigail Spanberger was. We'll give you all the details as the morning goes on and analysis starting at 6:05 with Walter Kurt. Then at 6:35, we'll speak with Megan Mobbs. She's from the Independent Women's Forum. Got a brand new study out that you're going to want to hear about. 7:05, Caroline Glick is going to join us from Benjamin Netanyahu's administration in Israel. 7:35, Christian Detak from the Washington Examiner, White House correspondent. And then at 8:35, we'll speak with the governor of Virginia, Glenn Youngkin. He knows a thing or two about winning a debate and then turning that into an election victory. It's Larry O'Connor with Patrice Onwuka. Good morning, Patrice.
Good morning. Happy Friday, Larry.
Okay, sure. I'll go with that. It is probably a happy Friday. If you're in the Winsome Earle-Sears camp, it's a pretty good day. Listen, the task at hand for Winsome Earle-Sears and for the Republicans running for statewide office in Virginia is to win the election, not
Absolutely.
win the debate. Now, you can win a debate and still not win an election. That said, she did the best she could possibly do to turn the narrative on this campaign and get that last push of momentum for the undecideds. As all the polls have shown, Abigail Spanberger in the lead in this race in terms of public opinion polls. There have been two things that have been remarkable about those polls. And I'm talking going all the way back to May when she had this so-called insurmountable 17-point lead.
Yeah.
She never shows over 50%, Patrice, in these polls. As dominant as she is in the polls, mostly because she was getting, incredibly positive media attention because the media
and she
just
has
decided.
Higher name recognition, too.
I'm sorry, she has what?
Higher name recognition.
Than the lieutenant governor? I don't know.
Maybe.
If she has higher name recognition, it's because the media loves to talk about her as some transcendent political figure. But I think when you're the lieutenant governor, Winsome Earle-Sears probably has some pretty good name recognition, too. I mean, I doubt people down in the south of Virginia really know who the hell Abigail Spanberger is. She's just a liberal Democrat congresswoman from one district around, Prince William County. Whereas Winsome Earle-Sears has been the lieutenant governor statewide for the last 3.5 years.
Certainly in traversing the state, representing the administration. Absolutely. But, you also have a former member of Congress. In any case, that's just a diversion.
Listen, I don't know. I think that the reason why Abigail Spanberger has been in the lead in these polls is the media has been propping her up. Mm-hmm. She's raised a ton of money, so she's done a ton of advertisements.
Yeah.
And there's this, secular thing in the media and in politics where the opposing party to whoever happens to be in the White House usually gets a boost in Virginia. It's just this weird thing. The last time I can remember that the same political party that won the White House also won the Virginia race the next year was when Terry McAuliffe won after Barack Obama's won his second term back in 2013. Anyway, beyond all of that, she is vulnerable. Hugely vulnerable,
she is.
Despite her lead. And we have seen that play out over the course of the last several months as the news cycle has focused on issues that she is running from. If you look at her campaign, Abigail Spanberger doesn't really stand for much other than winning the election and being a Democrat. And that ain't enough. And so, number one, you had the issue with transgender policies that Abigail Spanberger supports and voted for, dominating the news cycle for the last several months in Northern Virginia. And you have seen Winsome Earle-Sears' numbers climb and Abigail Spanberger's numbers soften and drop.
Yeah.
Then you had the J. Jones texting scandal. And the question was, will this drag down Abigail Spanberger? Because she has barely said anything about it. So that became issue number one in the debate yesterday. And it was very simple. The moderator asked, do you withdraw your endorsement from this man? And here, after she had 2 plus minutes to answer that question. The moderator kept following up. And, well, you judge for yourself. Here it is, cut number 1.
Our next question is about the temperature and tone of political speech. The first example has been shaping the race for governor and attorney general for the past week. You both will have a chance for rebuttal. Democratic Attorney General nominee Jay Jones admits he sent text messages to a colleague referencing former Republican House Speaker Todd Gilbert. Here's what he wrote.
Jones. 3 people, 2 bullets. Gilbert, Hitler, Pol Pot. Gilbert gets 2 bullets to the head. Spoiler, put Gilbert in the crew with the 2 worst people you know, and he receives both bullets every time. Colleague. Jay, please stop. Jones. LOL, okay. I mean, do I think Todd and Jennifer are evil and that they're breeding little fascists? Yes. Colleague. You were talking about hoping Jennifer Gilbert's children would die. Jones. Yes, I've told you this before. Only when people feel pain personally do they move on policy.
Jay Jones has apologized and says
Can we
he
pause
takes
there for a second? Patrice, how great is it that they did that they used the automated voice?
Extremely effective, because if you're only hearing the ad, I mean, just listening, our listeners are hearing it, that's insane. If you're seeing the text messages, it's just as insane. And very often, when these questions get asked, it's just referred to, there were some pretty bad text messages where he says, whereas you were listening and seeing the messages yourself. And for many people who may have been tuned out on this whole issue, I guarantee they immediately have formed an opinion.
If anyone was tuning into the debate and they had heard about the story but they didn't know the details of it, because here's the thing. Listen, we have taken great pains on this program to tell you exactly what Jay Jones said, what the context was. I mean, I wish the moderator had said, hey, don't forget, he said this because he was angry at Todd Gilbert for saying nice things in a eulogy for a dead Democrat. I mean, that makes it 10 times even worse. Even when Joe and Mika on MSNBC, when they were disavowing Jay Jones and they were saying he should drop out of the race, they didn't actually tell their audience what was in those text messages. They are trying to avoid
disgusting.
it.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so the fact that it was hanging out there in the room at the debate, just waiting for Abigail Spanberger to say, yeah, that's it. I couldn't vote for somebody who says that sort of thing, and I'm withdrawing my endorsement. That's all she had to say. So, did she? Well, we'll let you hear exactly what she did and did not say at that critical moment in the debate. The moment that's going to get played over and over over and over again. Here's the thing about these debates. People don't usually watch the whole thing, but they see the coverage and they see the clips. And this is the clip. And you'll hear what Abigail Spanberger did next.
WMAL, making sense of the news. Live from the Home Paramount Pest Control Studios. Home Paramount, the leader in pest control since 1939.
Your next $1,000 could be one text away. It's $5K a day on WMAL.
All right, let's pick it up where we left off. Not much more analysis needed. We've set it up for you. We've told you the context. Now hear what happened. We'll pick it up right after the moderators at the debate last night played the text messages from Jay Jones. Here we go.
Let's see.
Jay Jones has apologized and says he takes full responsibility for those messages. Ms. Spanberger, you have called the comments disgusting and said you condemn violence. The question for you tonight is, were you aware of these messages before they were released publicly, and will you continue to endorse Jay Jones as the next Attorney General of Virginia? You have 60 seconds.
The comments that Jay Jones made are absolutely abhorrent. I denounced them when I learned of them, and I will denounce them every opportunity I get. As a mother, as a public servant, as a candidate for governor, I denounce them. And it is important that candidates always denounce violence on no matter which side of the aisle. Violence, violent rhetoric, we should always be focused and forceful in our denouncement of it.
Are you going to tell him
and
to get
importantly, my opponent, unfortunately, only denounces violence when her side is the target.
Don't
I hope
like that,
into
Abigail.
the future she will endeavor to denounce violent rhetoric and violence no matter who the victim. And tonight, Lieutenant Governor Earle-Sears, I will say you routinely referred to me as your enemy.
Just please give her a chance to respond.
You routinely refer to me as your enemy. I'm not your enemy. You are not my enemy. We are political opponents, and tonight voters are here to listen to the policy differences that we have. So as we move forward, we must continue to set a good example for all of our children.
All right. Now, listen, I sympathize with Winsome Earle-Sears and her frustration with Abigail Spanberger. Yeah. She's getting a lot of criticism for interrupting. I get it. That said, I think she should have stopped interrupting at some point because Abigail Spanberger was just flailing so badly that the more time you gave her to give her word salad non-answer, the better. But now there's more to this, by the way, because the moderator, and I got to give him credit, the moderator kept coming back saying, well, you didn't answer the question. Yes. So let's get through it, and then we can give some more analysis. Cut 2 here.
Thank you, Ms. Spanberger. I didn't hear an answer there on the endorsement issue, so I want to just make sure. Will you continue to endorse Jay Jones to be the next Attorney General of Virginia? And were you aware of these text messages before they released? You have 30 seconds.
In fact, it appears that it was those who released the text messages and held them for years. So the public was unaware who had knowledge of these text messages for many years.
What did you do about it?
I learned of these text messages the day that they came out, and I denounced them as soon as I learned of them.
She denounces murder.
And importantly, at this point, as we move forward, the voters now have this information that was withheld for them.
You're running to
presumably for political reasons. But the voters now have the information, and it is up to voters to make an individual choice based on this information.
Ms. Spanberger, I understand what you're saying about the voters, but for you yourself, do you still continue to endorse Jay Jones? 15 seconds, yes or no?
We are all running our individual races. I believe my opponent has said that about her lieutenant governor nominee.
Ms. Earle-Sears.
And it's up to every person to make their own decision. I am running my race to serve Virginia, and that is what I intend to do.
Thank you, Ms. Spanberger. We just want to clarify, what you're saying is that as of now, you still endorse Jay Jones as Attorney General.
I'm saying as of now, it's up to every voter to make their own individual decision. I am running for governor. I am accountable for the words that I say, for the acts that I take, for the policies that I have put out.
Thank you.
I am responsible for the policies I put out and the work I will endeavor to do tirelessly for the people of Virginia.
Thank you, Ms.
There you go, Patrice.
I see no problem.
I see no
problem with what Winsome Earle-Sears did. And I think it's important because Winsome Earle-Sears said exactly what was on our mind. Winsome Earle-Sears held her accountable. And yes, I know the moderator also did that in a nice kind of way. But Winsome Earle-Sears showed fire in her belly. She showed the ability to think quickly and respond quickly and put Abigail Spanberger on her toes. And because of that interjection, you could tell Abigail Spanberger flailed. Like she was trying to get straight what her advisors had told her backup lines should be on this issue. So I think Winsome Earle-Sears did a great job interjecting and making it clear, translating what the word salad actually means. I see no problem.
That was the funny part, where she just basically said, well, of course she doesn't withdraw her endorsement. She supports them. And I think at one point she said, 3rd time's the charm, Abigail. We're giving you a 3rd chance to do this. And it ended up being 4 times. And here's the funny thing about that. Let's say the Spanberger people think that Winsome Earle-Sears really looked bad interrupting. Well, it's not like they can put that in an ad, because if they put that in an ad, then they're highlighting Abigail Spanberger and
her lack of position.
Worse was her dodging of this. But yeah, that is the bottom line. She's on the record endorsing Jay Jones. She was given multiple opportunities to withdraw that endorsement, and she wouldn't do it. Winsome Earle-Sears came back at Spanberger about that. Let me cut to the tail end of it, because I think that it's really, really powerful, because she kept trying to address Abigail Spanberger directly. She would turn the podium and talk to her. Spanberger would not make eye contact. She just kept looking down. She looked terrified. She looked weak. She looked awful. And take a listen to this. It's 3A.
What would it take him pulling the trigger? Is that what would do it? And then you would say he needs to get out of the race, Abigail? You have nothing to say? Abigail, what if he said it about your three children? Is that when you would say he should get out of the race, Abigail? You're running to be governor.
Ms. Earle-Sears.
Wow. That's huge.
That was so powerful.
What do they say? Silence speaks volumes? And that was pretty loud silence right there. A little bit more. And actually there was more on the Jay Jones text messages. Obviously the dominant political story of the race in Virginia. Abigail Spanberger had over a week to prepare. She had nothing. She looked ill-prepared and weak. And we haven't even touched on the transgender issue, which she also flailed on. So we'll get to that coming up in a sec. All
right. Coming up, they said that Winsome had her Trump moment. I think it's a Winsome moment. We'll share it with you. Stay with us. It's O'Connor and Company at 5:30.
WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9. WMAL. News now. Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
It's 5:37, and we've got full coverage of last night's debate between Abigail Spanberger and Winsome Earle-Sears. We're playing you some highlights now. Plus, at 6:05, we'll get analysis from independent journalist Walter Kurt in Virginia. 6:35, Megan Mobbs, Independent Women's Forum. 7:05, Caroline Glick, part of the Netanyahu administration. 7:35, Christian Daytak of the Washington Examiner covering the White House. And then at 8:35, Governor Glenn Youngkin. It's Larry O'Connor with Patrice Onwuka. Morning, Patrice.
Happy Friday, Larry, and everybody listening.
You betcha. The headline at The Hill says Earle-Sears dominates the debate. That's
Very
the headline
good.
From The Hill. That's a headline that you would want, I think, coming out of this. Blue Virginia, which is a left-wing Democrat-operated account on the X platform, this is what they were reduced to. This is what they were reduced to. Despite the awful right-wing moderators, Spanberger clearly won tonight's debate. Right-wing moderators. Right-wing.
Somehow I don't think they would call themselves that.
There's a lot more here on the Jay Jones thing. There's also an important moment on the transgender issue. But let me just give you another quick highlight here on the Jay Jones text messaging. Spanberger tried to make this about Trump. And so here, and also the moderators did their best to try to make it about Trump, too. Here's cut 4 when Winsome Earle-Sears was asked if she would accept an endorsement from Trump. Listen.
You're out of time there. We do have one more follow-up question for you before we get to rebuttals. One more question for you. This is on the topic of endorsements. President Trump has endorsed the Republican incumbent Attorney General. Do you need Trump's endorsement to win the race in Virginia? You have 30 seconds.
So I will take all endorsements, including the president. And I am working very hard for the people of Virginia.
There you go. That's
okay.
That's, I mean, which I think is a good answer. But they tried to make it about Trump. And she's like, yeah, I'll take an endorsement from the president. Why not? Here is, now, for those of you who don't like it when politicians talk over each other, you might not like this. But this is a good flavor of what the debate sounded like. And again, as you said, you had no problem with Winsome Earle-Sears because she was trying to engage Spanberger, trying to get her to actually.
And tease out some truth here.
Yeah. Well, here's cut 5. Take a listen.
We need to get to rebuttals. So, Ms. Spanberger, you have 30 seconds to respond.
I think in her response to the question that you asked, my opponent proved my point, which is when violent rhetoric comes from her side of the aisle, she refuses to denounce it. The statement that you read from President Donald Trump was violent rhetoric that she refuses to denounce, and this is why I say you are not
Earle-Sears,
my enemy.
She has her 30
and
seconds.
I wish you would stop using language like that. But I am also glad that she began speaking about issues of affordability because as we are talking about issues of affordability, I am the only candidate on stage who's put forth a plan to actually lower costs for Virginians.
Ms. Earle-Sears, now your turn for a rebuttal. You have 30 seconds.
So what Abigail has just said is a lie, that she's the only one who has affordability. Please go to SpanbergerLies.com and check that out. I don't understand why you just can't come forward and say he needs to go. I mean, we're talking about murder. We're talking about someone's life being taken from them. Have you nothing to say about that? Are you not going to address it? Really, you can't go any further. You're a governor. You're supposed to stand up for all the people. Are you saying political murder is all right?
Ms. Spanberger, I want to give you a chance to respond since yes.
Once
You have
again,
30 seconds.
I have denounced political violence, political rhetoric, no matter who is leading the charge. When given the opportunity, Lieutenant Governor Earle-Sears, you have not done the same.
No matter who is leading the
and
charge
so
on
when
what?
it is important that all
When
of us set a better
someone showed a sign
example.
that said,
And so
if I could not drink
no
out of
matter
a water
who
fountain,
is
it took you a whole
providing
day to say
the comments
something,
that
Abigail.
are advocating
but it's
for
difficult for us
She
to
has
hear.
Okay. It's hard to listen to. Lost in the crosstalk there was Winsome Sears pointing out that her supporter had a sign saying that blacks couldn't use water fountains. You remember that?
Yeah,
Great moment.
Listen, I think that crosstalk is actually okay. You know, what I love about crosstalk is that you can tell who's lying or who is putting up a front because they can't handle the crosstalk. And I like that a stronger person who is actually strong in their convictions uses crosstalk effectively. I don't know. I think most people are used to being in a family disagreement or a heated political discussion at the Thanksgiving table where, there's a little bit of crosstalk back and forth. But, you know, sometimes the niceties, you lose something in that. So
listen, I think it showed Winsome Sears to be a strong leader and trying to be assertive, and it showed, and it really highlighted Abigail Spanberger being weak and evasive and sort of pre-programmed. Here's an exchange over transgender policies and men in women's locker rooms.
So again, the question was, should transgender girls who are biological males be allowed to use girls' bathrooms and play on girls' sports teams in K through 12? You have 15 seconds to clarify.
By the way, and that you heard, this is a follow-up because she was asked the question, and as usual, Abigail Spanberger gave you evasive talking point word salad that never actually answered the question. And once again, you'll hear she doesn't answer the question.
In cases across Virginia, I think it's incumbent upon parents and educators and administrators in each local community to make decisions locally.
That's what this is about.
Ms. Earle-Sears?
There should never be nude men in locker rooms.
We finally have her saying that, but you voted for that.
Ms. Earle-Sears.
Have you finally
Ms.
said that
you are
now?
just intruding on
Are
time
we in
here.
agreement now? Are you going to tell?
This is Ms. Spanberger's time. I have a follow-up question for Ms. Spanberger. Would you rescind the Youngkin administration policy requiring boys and girls to use bathrooms aligning with their biological sex?
All right, you'll get that answer in just a moment. But you heard under pressure, Abigail Spanberger said there should never be nude men in locker rooms. But see, the key here is she doesn't think that a transgender woman is a nude man. See, that's her wiggle room. That's not a nude man. That's a woman.
To her, Richard Cox is just a woman.
That's right, Richard Cox.
The pedo.
Multiple sex offender is just another chick. It's 5:44.
Later this morning on the Chris Plante Show, did the Nobel Committee give the prize to President Trump or to another radical Islamist car bomber? 9 a.m. on WMAL.
Would you rescind the Youngkin administration policy requiring boys and girls to use bathrooms aligning with their biological sex? You have 30 seconds.
My priority would be to ensure that local communities, importantly parents and teachers and educators, are able to work together to meet the unique needs of each school and each community. And that is important. And I say that as a mother of 3 daughters in Virginia public schools.
Exactly.
And as someone who used to investigate crimes against children. The way that we keep our children safe is by ensuring they are safe in schools, which includes funding law enforcement and public safety.
But Ms. Spanberger, the question was, would you rescind the Youngkin administration policy requiring boys and girls to use bathrooms aligning with their biological sex? You have 15 seconds to clarify that question.
Yes.
And my answer is that in each local community, decisions should be made between parents and educators and teachers in each community. It shouldn't be dictated by politicians.
Yeah. So she wouldn't give a yes or no answer, as you could see. And again, we have a different take on this. I think Winsome Sears interrupted too much. I think she should when your opponent is killing themselves and ruining their career, let them go. Let them keep talking. Understand what Abigail Spanberger's answers means there. It means that as long as the majority of parents in Fairfax County are fine with with transgender policies and they keep electing a school board that pushes it through, then that means that your little girl will have to be confronted by Richard Cox in the locker room, that there is no protection for that one girl as long as the majority thinks it's fine for men to be in that locker room, because she can't be at odds with the big money that she gets from the LGBTQ lobby. Here's my follow-up question. This is my follow-up question for Abigail Spanberger. You keep emphasizing safety in your answer to this question, Ms. Spanberger. So here's my question. Please explain what's unsafe about having a transgender individual in the locker room. How is this a safety concern from your perspective? She can't answer that, because if she explains what she means by safety, then she will offend the transgender activists, because as far as transgender activists, there's no safety concern here at all. So, well, listen, those are the two big topics, and I think that Abigail Spanberger whiffed on all of them.
More importantly, I think Winsome Sears came out as common sense, as holding a position that most Virginians would hold, except for the very far left and the some of those moms who think they're being really nice to the trans community. No, I think Winsome Sears, she was not just assertive. I think she said what we were all thinking out loud, and there is absolutely nothing wrong in calling that out, because if you don't know this about Winsome Sears, now you know. Don't mess with her, and that's the kind of governor you want. You want someone who's going to fight for you as a champion, not be wishy-washy and give you a pre-written line that's been tested by whatever donor is funding your campaign. So I actually love the crosstalk. I love the interjections, and I love a woman who's going to be a fighter for us.
Listen, there's nothing ethically wrong with doing it. Tactically, if you want your opponent to look bad and have a viral moment that repeats over and over again, don't step on the moment. Get out of the way of the moment, because a lot of times she was drowning out the nonsense that Abigail Spanberger was delivering. So I'm just talking about tactics. It's not a great look. It makes some viewers say, well, I don't like either of these two. You know what I mean? Cut 6 here, the topic of the government shutdown came up.
If you were governor now, would you ask the president to use his power to work with Democrats to reopen the government? You have 60 seconds.
So my opponent all summer long has been playing political football with federal workers by trying to say that she loves them more than anyone else. Well, let me tell you what love looks like. It looks like Abigail calling Senators Kaine and Warner and telling them, go back, do your job, and vote against the government shutdown. We only need eight Democratic senators. That's all we need. And we cannot find 8. And yet, we can find 2 in Virginia. When are you going to publicly say to Senators Kaine and Warner, go and do your job and keep federal workers working? That's the way you stop the shutdown, because right now they're having to work, and especially our military, without any pay. I'm a United States Marine veteran, and it is definitely hard, especially in the enlisted ranks, to work without pay. You can do something about that. You're the one who's been talking about all that love. Well, show love, keep them in their jobs.
Ms. Earle-Sears, the question, though, that I'm looking for, the answer to is, would you ask the president, if you were governor, to use his power to work with Democrats to reopen the government? 15 seconds to clarify.
So the president has already said that he would do that. But, before anything gets to the president, it's in the Senate right now. The House Republicans have voted, and it's in the Senate. And all we need for it to get to the president so the shutdown stops is 8 Senate Democrats. That's just it. 8 Senate Democrats, and we cannot find any because they're playing political football, as you have been, Abigail, all this time. Love is a verb. It's a show me. It's a doing.
All right. That's a good answer. By the way, the most accurate answer, suggesting, hey, how will you work with the president to open the government? It's not in the president's hand. It's in the Senate's hand. And Spanberger's doing nothing with the Democrat senators. Well, that's a preview, or a little bit of a review, I should say, of last night's debate. At 6:05, we'll speak with Walter Kurt about it. And at 8:35, Governor Glenn Youngkin. Right now, it's 5:53.